Hey, what's up guys? It's Eric with Medicare Supplement University, and today I wanted to make a quick video to kind of really simplify the definitions or the differences between what a FMO and an agency are. I think that there's a lot of talk and a lot of confusion about what each are responsible for, what they do. So I just kind of want to make and again, this isn't an all-encompassing video, it's just a short video to kind of give better definition to the differences between the two types of agencies that are out there. So I got a quick presentation I'll go through with you here on the differences. So really what an FMO is traditionally a field marketing organization. They have a focus on recruiting and training insurance agents. And so anytime a new product comes to market, a new Medicare supplement carrier, a new Medicare Advantage, or any other product comes into the market, the field marketing organization that specializes in recruiting and training agents will call and try to recruit and get a bunch of agents contracted and set up and ready to sell whatever this new product is that's out there on the market. So whenever a new carrier comes out, you'll see that there's a mad dash and your phone starts ringing and people are calling you to try to get you to contract with them. That's because that is their main job, their main priority. There's the other side of it is an agency that focuses on direct-to-consumer selling. That would be like myself, like Justin. We focus on direct-to-consumer selling, but based on production, we have contract levels that are as high as a lot of the FMO contracts, but our main focus is selling direct-to-consumer. And so as a result, I just want to kind of go through a little bit of comparison between the two and what they what they both have in common and also what they have that's different. So first thing is that both of the agencies, both types of agencies we're discussing here, can have the same level, like commission level, but most often you'll notice that the way that an agency gets to that field marketing level is through production. It's based on looking at the last 12 months of production and seeing how much they were able to produce in that certain product's type of premium. So MedSup premium, for instance. So in order to get to the FMO levels, a lot of times you have to be producing over $1 million or more in Medicare supplement premium per year in order to qualify to get the FMO level contracts. And so normally, the FMO level contracts, even FMOs are held to a standard where they have to look at their 12 months of production. So they have to look at, based on everyone they've recruited for Medicare supplements, how much have they produced. And if it doesn't equal to $1 million, then they're not going to get the top level contract. They'll probably get something that's lower that coincides more with what they produced in the previous year. All right. So next thing is both FMOs and agencies can recruit agents to be under their hierarchy. The reason why is because when you do get to that FMO level, if you get that high level contract, you're normally going to be between 3 to 5 points above what they call street level. Okay, and so again, that's based on production. Normally each level might be just an increment or an increase in percentage, 1 percentage point. Both can provide tools and training to help agents to get started and going in the right direction. Okay, and FMOs normally, here's one big difference though. FMOs are normally going to be staffed to have a marketing support team in place to take phone calls, answer questions throughout the day, make sure that they can do follow-up for the agents that are in the field. So whenever an agent's actually in the field or having an appointment and they get stumped on something and they need to ask a question, they can normally call the FMO, and there'll be somebody on staff who can help answer those questions or do follow-up for them or call the insurance company for them. It just all depends on what that FMO is set up to do for you, and really and that's kind of where it gets a little, I'm not going to say gray, it's just there is a difference even between FMOs. Some go a lot further in terms of what they do for you as the agent, and some don't do as much. And it's not to discredit them or say they're any worse, it's just they'll hopefully be upfront with you and let you know what they're willing to do and what they can do, and if you're okay with that, then great. But that's normally one of the big differences, is that the FMO will staff a team that's in charge of helping agents who are in the field so they can get help right away. If you look at an agency, on the other hand, a direct-to-consumer agency, they're again, some are going to be structured where they do have a staff that could possibly help with answering marketing questions any time of the day, but more often than not, the team is busy writing business direct to consumer throughout the day, and so if there's phone calls that need to be made and follow-ups that need to happen, it's normally going to happen towards the end of the day, right, towards the afternoon time, so that after they're done doing their part with the agency, they can start following up and helping with agents. And so again, this is a situation where if the agent's okay with that, then it could be a good fit. One of the big things that a lot of agents like to work with is people who are in the business doing it themselves. And so, some FMOs will have that set up where they do actually are still selling in the field, and so they can, but they don't do it as often, or they're not doing it full time, so they can still help provide support. But others, like if you're working with an agency that's direct to consumer, they're full time working with people over the phone or in person, and so they're busy helping and enrolling clients, but that's a lot of experience they can bring to the table for you as the agent if you wanted more ongoing training on best practices, tips and tricks, all that good stuff. Again, not to say the FMO can't provide that, but that is something that's beneficial when you're working with an agency that's day in and day out calling and working with consumers selling different types of products. So the contracting process. In order to sell, you're going to need to be contracted with carriers that you want to represent. That's just always been the way it is. If you go through the university, you'll see that that's one of the first modules is, hey, before you get started on all the training, let's figure out which carriers are actually competitive in your area so that we can start the contracting process so that by the time you're done training, you're already getting writing numbers and you're ready to go. But in order to sell, you need to be contracted with the carrier you want to sell. So street level is a term I mentioned earlier. Street level is what we use as a term for agents who are getting that base commission level that the company issues when they first come into the market. And this means the carrier is paying you directly. And so street level is not a negative term by any means. It's just basically an easy way to identify what a carrier is going to offer commission-wise when they come into a marketplace. So if they come into the marketplace, like Cigna, let's say, most places comes in at like 21% or 22%, just depends on the state you're in. That's their street level, and there's normally going to be levels above that based on production. And that's another thing that you would talk with your upline about is what does it take to get those higher commission levels, because most of the times, if you look at just 1 percentage point higher, it could be anywhere from 100 to 150,000 proof of production, where you say, okay, I can prove that I produce 100 to 150,000 in premium on a yearly basis with MedSup, so I can maybe get that 1 percentage point higher. Some agents don't care. I've worked with a lot of agents that they just say, okay, hey, it's a good enough commission. My main focus is helping people. I make plenty of money. That's not really that big of a deal. There's a lot of agents that are like that. I worked with them over the years, and they're salt of the earth people. They just want to write business and they want to help clients. And as long as it's not like you're offering them 10%, they're normally good with a lot of street levels. But a lot of them also qualify for the higher levels based on production. So you would ask your agency what a certain carrier would require in terms of proof of production in order to get the higher levels that are offered. But again, street level is the starting point for all carriers. Not a negative term, not at all. That's just basically saying this is the base level that an insurance carrier wants to come out with in terms of allowing you to contract and write business with. The other cool thing is most of them won't have a production quota for you as an independent agent. So if you contract at street level, you won't have necessarily a production quota, but most of the times they will end up canceling your contract if you go a certain period of time without writing business. But that's somewhere, it varies from carrier to carrier. It could be 6 months, it could be a year, it could be a year and a half, 2 years. It just depends on the carrier. But they will be periodically going through those contracts and seeing. But ultimately, if you're going to pick up a carrier, it should be because you do want to write it and you want to actually do something with it. So there's normally 3 to 5 levels, as I mentioned, above street level that you can attain based on yearly production. And this is how most agencies like ourselves get contracts that are as high as FMO contracts, because we produce in the millions in terms of premium per year. So because of that, we can normally get those high contracts. And it's something that everybody would want to maybe want to work towards. But I think that in reality, just from my experience, there's going to be so many agents out there that are just happy producing 150 to 200,000 a year in premium, because once residuals start kicking in, you got a really great lifestyle coming in. So there'll be a lot of agents who aren't going to be pushing to try to write over $1 million a year. They'll be completely satisfied writing in the 100,000, 150,000 per year area, because after time that will build up and be something awesome. The last one that I want to cover here is what's called the LOA, licensed only agent. Some can consider it your captive, but this means that your commissions are being paid to your upline, whoever that is. Okay, so LOA is a term they will use to say your commissions are being paid to the upline whenever you're writing business. All right, so this is where I see a lot of things popping up on the different groups as to questions about why it happens this way, why it should happen this way, how did it happen this way. But I just want to quickly point out, at least in my mind, the two reasons that you should contract as an LOA, and outside of that, there probably isn't any other reasons. Okay, so reason number one, if you're being employed by your upline and they're paying you a salary plus bonus structure plus leads, all that good stuff, everything you need, a seat at a table in an office, basically my employees are LOA. They're LOA to the company because we are providing everything for them, including a salary and bonus structure and all that stuff. Okay, so it wouldn't make sense to give them a street level contract when we're funding the entire endeavor for them. Okay, the street level contracts are more designed for people who are independent agents that are starting their own business and working at being an independent agent, funding their lead generation themselves, paying for supplies, paying for the tools that they need in order to write business. That's what a street level agent should do. If you're getting all this stuff taken care of by your upline, then that would make sense that the upline is setting you up as an LOA. Okay. Second reason, it could be that if you're not being employed by your upline, instead you're 1099, you're just contracted, you can still be set up as an LOA if your upline is providing you all your leads, okay, and they're also doing all the training to help you become a stellar agent, and they've also arranged with you ahead of time before you sign the contract a schedule of how they would pay you per app for every time you write an application. That's really the only other time that I would see it makes sense to be an LOA agent, because the upline is basically not, maybe they're not paying you a salary, but they are saying, hey, we're going to give you the leads and the training to make sure that you are writing business consistently and making money, and then whatever our agreement is, that's what you get paid on. There's some caveats to that. I've seen some agencies who are willing to provide you the leads and training and still actually put you on a contract where the carrier pays you, but it would be at a lower percentage. And that lower percentage, that they do it like that so that they can try to make it up in terms of override for what they're investing in you in terms of leads and training, and maybe even if they give you a place to sit so that you can do all your business in terms of office space. But that's the only other thing that I've seen out there. Outside of that, these are really the only two reasons I should see somebody contracting as an LOA that would make sense. Okay, so be aware that as an LOA, all commissions that you earn while you're an LOA will go to the upline, and if you leave the upline, they keep the commissions. All right, and so a lot of people may not like to hear that, but depending on why you are an LOA, this could be a completely fair situation. Remember, so for me, if I'm investing so much into getting agents up and running, training, leads, tips of the trade, I mean, the office space, all that stuff. So it makes sense that we need to try to recoup that, because a lot of times we don't end up being profitable for quite a while when you bring on a new agent that way. So it could be completely fair, but there are instances where you got set up incorrectly as an LOA, or you signed a LOA contract when you probably shouldn't have, and you should have been on a street level contract, or at least on a contract where the carrier pays you directly, so that whenever you write business, the carrier pays you and you get your residuals as long as that client stays on the books. This is really what I think with what I laid out right here. It should make a pretty clear distinction between not only what an FMO is and what an agency is that basically has FMO level contracts, but also the distinction between what a street level agent is and what an LOA agent is, and why you should choose one or the other. Okay, so I hope this clears up a lot of confusion. I probably should have made a video like this a long time ago, but here it is regardless. So I hope it helps, and I'll see you guys on the next video.